It's here at last. You thought you could avoid it, but it comes for everyone. Death. But you've led a fulfilling life, right? Surely you must have made a positive impact. The thought gnaws at you. Time has run out. Where do you stand? What have you achieved?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to What Dust Remains. We are here to accompany you and our character Q through the final stages of their life and their story that we've told over the last 4 weeks. We are at the stage of the game which is ominously called Final Moments. Now, we are going to push through the final stages, the final moments of Q's life. We don't have much left to burn. We have 3 facets left. We're going to be rolling 1 die every time. So we have a 1 in 3 chance of succeeding every time, and then a possible re-roll if we fail. This could get quite emotional. We've established that Q has realised that she's built a world that she can't experience, right? She's going to be left behind no matter what. And yeah, so strap in, everyone, for what could be a quite sad final installment. So I have drawn 3. Our options are: movement has become difficult. What opportunities are lost to you, and how do you find ways to adjust? Or you are replaced in your role by someone much younger and capable. Who are they, and what do you do to adjust to the situation? And then we roll the dice to check if your coping mechanisms work as intended. So we have already established that Q is someone who has pushed herself beyond her physical and mental limits to see this project succeed, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that, is it more interesting for her to still try to be part of this project and still try and do those things? Or is it more interesting for us to have her watch at a distance as someone else does it? Now, I wonder whether I'm going to choose the latter. So I'm going to choose you are replaced in your role by someone much younger and capable. Who are they, and what do you do to adjust to the situation? Now, the little bit of pickle that I'm going to put on this, a little bit of spice that I'm going to put on this, is that she has been replaced, and when I say replaced, like as in doing the physical undersea work, right, that she used to do and used to be one of the only people who can do, and her community used to have the monopoly on people who could do this work. But I wonder if she's been replaced by someone from the Exodus program who didn't leave, someone who went through that cadet school, who went through that training, and has proved themselves capable of doing this work, but it's done in a way that isn't in keeping with the tradition of it. How does that sound?
It sounds very fitting, and I could even envision them being kind of a highly, how's that word? Technologized?
Technologically.
Technologically advanced, like setup. I almost see like little submarines that are one person manned, that use arms to kind of like use the tools that Q used with her hands, basically. So they are much more capable than Q is now.
So 1 dice here, 1 dice to see if she can cope with seeing her work being able to be replaced by technology, for one. Her traditions, which we've seen at the end of the last stage of her life, have been set off into the water and codified in text now. It's no longer going to be something that's passed down orally. Will this final stage of the work being done with technology and with someone from outside of the community eat at her forever? Will that be the thing that, she at the end, she wasn't able to do it her way completely? There had to be some sort of assistance that came in from outside. Or if she succeeds this role, is it she, as a scientist and as a pioneer, accepts that there are limits to what people can do, and at some point they have to hand over to someone else who must stand on the shoulders of the giants to reach the heights. Do they sound like reasonable stakes, Kash?
Absolutely.
Right, here we go. Our first one die roll. It's a 3. So it's a failure. Now we have, above the table, everybody, we have 2 legacy to fill in, and we have 3 facets to burn. Now, burning it doesn't mean a success, but at this stage we probably should burn it. Or do we want to put all our eggs in one basket of succeeding with the next 2 runs?
I mean, no, burn a facet. We're old.
We are old. We are. What else have we got to lose? We have got left. All we've got left are our principles, and our principles are honor, tenacity, and independence. And actually, just reading those, independence works perfectly. She can no longer do this by herself. She has to trust in other people to finish the work that she started. If she's going to accept that she can't do this, then she has to accept that someone else will be the person to get this over the finish line. Yes. And, you know, it's not about having lung capacity or like the physical attributes to survive at depths. It's now about having access to the best tech, having the resources to do it a new way. And of course, the people who are most well equipped to use this technology are the refugees from the Exodus program, the people who got left behind as well. These, tech whiz kids and people with niche skills that, found themselves back in the world like she did, trying to find a purpose. And this person who, should we name them? Do you think it's important that we name them?
I don't think it's important that we name them.
It's just some punk.
Yeah.
Some kid, some snotty kid with a robot that's doing this work that she used to do. Right, so let's re-roll. Then the big question, if this fails, the big question is, do we keep burning our facets? Okay, we got a 4, so we did fail. I feel like we need to let this one go. And I think what it said, like, roll to check if your coping mechanisms work as intended. I think that we start to see in Q the first signs of bitterness. And I think that she watches this work being done. So we're moving along now in this project, and I think that there are probably floating labs and docks that build all these things and then start to kind of put them in the water, and people start testing whether they can live in them or not. Like maybe a lot of you mentioned a drought, didn't you, earlier, as part of this kind of ecological collapse. I wonder if a big portion of the population of Earth has started living on the sea whilst they work on how to live under the sea. The temperatures are like soaring, and the sea level is rising, and day by day I think Q sits alone on this floating jetty, watching not members of her community dive and do their work in the traditional way. She's not at the coalface, as it were. She's not there with her hands in the insides of some machine, deftly working the wiring into positions that no one else can. She's watching people who weren't even born take instruction from someone her age who she vaguely recognizes from the Exodus program, some cadet who washed out and didn't manage to even get to the heights that she and Bryony ascended. Who is this person to be giving instruction to the next generation? But she can't really fight it because she knows that she's not quick enough anymore. She's not strong enough anymore. she is very easily distracted by other things because she can't focus anymore. And I think that she's finding these things that she has lost, these skills, the ability to be sharp, decisive, incisive, and be able to lead, to inspire. She's finding those qualities replaced by this nagging hatred. And I think she's starting to feel like, why can't it be me? I've done so much. I've given so much. And what has it been for? And I think that deep down she fights it because she knows that's not right. She's not completely like gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she hates the fact that she's feeling that. As she sits alone on the edge of the jetty watching the future generations finish the work she started, and she can't help but feel this burning inside of her that she's not going to be the one to tie the bow on the present, put the cherry on top of the cake, or finish this important work. Anything you want to add to that?
No, that was very impactful.
Okay, so
Whew.
that's our first round failed.
So we only have 2 chances to get a legacy now. I think it's very unrealistic that Q will actually make it.
And remember, the legacy we are trying to achieve is to find a new hope for humanity. We are close, though. We are within touching distance. Kash is going to go next, and you are going back to the Ace to 5 deck because you are going back to the beginning of the round. You have got
The Ace. Important memories begin to fade. What memory do you most fear to lose, and how do you cope with that threat? Or tales of your past accomplishments have become distorted. How has perception changed, and how does it threaten you? Whew.
they're both very juicy.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it in a very realistic way, I think once you actually start aging to a point where memories start to fade, I think most often it's actually the short-term memories that kind of leave you first, and the long-term memories actually are so ingrained in your let's say subconscious mind that they kind of stay the longest. So I think it's not like the very distant memories from her childhood or young adulthood that begin to leave, but more recent memories. Maybe I'm trying to think of things that we have established in the story, and I think one thing that comes to mind is that maybe while reflecting on the past 10 or so years on her life, she realizes that once she gets to memories from a more recent era, memories that kind of changed the course of the Neptune project, she remembers the day when this catastrophic event happened, where the first base that the project had built on the ground of the sea basically collapsed under a huge, I would say probably earthquake due to a volcano erupting. And I think she comes to realize that she can't actually remember the people that were lost in this event. I think she's trying to she's very close to remembering, but she can't quite. There was this one person, and she thinks she remembers their face, but then actually, did they have blue eyes or brown eyes? And what was their name again? It started with a letter. Was it V, M? She doesn't remember. She's very close to remembering, but then the more she tries to get the memory back, the more she feels it vanishing. And I think that's the memory that I'd like to to have in mind for the situation. The role of the dice is to see if we can hold on to what is true, if she can actually remember that person or the people that were lost in this catastrophic event that kind of set the ground for Neptune actually becoming successful, or if she cannot remember. And I got one dice to roll, and I think it's very fitting. I wanted to show you this this die in the beginning. It's a small bone.
That is very fitting.
So let's see. Oh my god, it's rolling forever. I rolled a 3.
I mean, we sort of have to
We
burn
have
a facet
to
at this point.
it.
But
Yeah.
which one do we think?
So we still have honor and tenacity left. And I would like to think that probably our tenacity is what makes her really try to push through this memory. Like she knows this is an important memory. She knows the people that were lost in this catastrophic event were they were people that were important to the cause, and she will fight to remember at least what they looked like. And so I think we'll try to leave that tenacity in the past and instead regain the memory of the people on this event. Okay, let's see. I rolled a 5. Yes. And I think how we could narrate it is that Q is probably, I mean, I see her sitting somewhere on one of these floating islands on top of like a mossy bench, kind of like she knows there's people underneath her building and working and kind of pushing towards the goal that she's had all her life. And she's not able to go down there anymore. So she spends like the last moments of her life on top of these floating islands to at least get a little bit of the feeling that everyone else is getting to experience. And she's probably sitting on this mossy bench, looking out over the ocean and trying to remember the day of that catastrophic event. She's trying to place all these like pieces of the memories back together, and she's trying very hard to remember at least the eye colors of this one person that she remembers from her community. That was someone that really, oh, and then the name comes back to her. It's Kay. Yes, it was Kay all along. Kay. She remembers the eyes, the facial features, and with that memory coming back to her, there's also like a sudden wave of sadness that hits her, because of course Kay was someone very important in an earlier part of her life, and Kay's loss was a tremendous loss for the community, of course, but also for the Neptune project. But in the end, it was not for nothing. It was basically the catalyst for Neptune becoming as successful as it is. And I think at this point, Hugh can almost take a little happiness from this event, this remembrance, and yeah, she will be able to hold on to what is true.
I think that's beautiful how you've described it. I really like the idea that she sat on like a little mossy bench that, like, you know, and I wonder whether, you know, the wildlife is overtaking the kind of top sides of these floating stations. Perhaps is an unintended consequence, but it's actually starting to help. And I wonder if she's starting to maybe see the flowers or the, you know, them blooming as she's kind of sitting there and her memories are coming back to her, and she's remembered Kay. And yeah, that was just beautiful. Thank you. That was a very good one. I'm going to draw now, but there is no draw in the second stage of this. There is no 6 to 10 deck. There is just a 6 to 10 prompt, which reads as follows. Challenges continue to build and unaddressed issues escalate, preventing you from achieving your legacy, only bringing stress, regret, and despair. What happened, and how do you vow to stand tall and resist its gloomy call? roll dice to see if you avoid defeat. So I wonder whether, like, we are getting to, you know, the 11th hour in this countdown towards complete failure. And I think that in global events, what I'd like to also have happened in this latter stage of Q's life is news has reached Earth that the Exodus project has been a failure and they can't come back. You know, there is everyone who went has not survived. There has been a cataclysmic problem, and you know, that isn't even remotely a plan Z now. Like this has to happen. There is no other way. There's no rescue party coming back for them from the stars, right? Because I think that was part of the lie that they were told, that Exodus would be like, well, the reason not everyone's coming is because we'll get everything set up and habitable.
And then we'll send the ships back. Yeah.
We'll come and get you. It's fine. Trust us. Well, now that's even the few people on Earth who believed that lie. That lie is gone. That's dead now, right? So I think that we are really in the final stages. And I think that there is as the work on the Neptune project is quickening and like it's nearing completion. Like they're so close to finding a way to make it work. I think people start to lose belief in it, and I think people start to lose belief in her. I think that Q retreats in a lot of ways from public life. She is a solitary figure. I wonder whether some people around the world might not even believe she's still alive, or those that do believe she's still alive think of her as a symbol of hope rather than a scientist actively working on a solution to a global problem. And I wonder whether the challenges that are escalating now are the belief starting to falter. They're so close. This global effort that's been carrying on for decades, it must have been going for decades. It's so close. But with the news that the Exodus program has ended in disaster, brings no one any joy. No one is happy at saying, I told you so. They just know that this is our last chance. And they see the figurehead of this movement is now an elderly woman who can't even dive to do the work herself, the work that only she could do. And now, do they trust to the next generation to finish what she started? One dice. If we succeed, then I guess the project keeps going. Because they have to, as most people do when they have to persevere through something. They keep going because that's all they can do.
And I think maybe to add on to that, maybe the project doesn't just keep going, but maybe there's also a little movement within where they, because you said so nicely or which I think was very fitting, old people often retreat. They kind of pull back from society, from the community, because often they don't feel like they can contribute something meaningful anymore. And I think we, like, communities often then forget to include their elders in a sense. And I think what would be nice and what could kind of frame our success or your success now would be if someone from or maybe people from the Neptune program, maybe even this new person taking over Q's role, will organize an event, possibly in her name.
It's like a celebration.
Like a celebration event to not only reestablish this feeling of hope for Neptune, because people are starting to lose faith in it, but also to bring back or to kind of view back on all the achievements that have been done by Q and by all the work that she's put in over the decades. And I think this could kind of frame the success in a way where she wouldn't actively have to stand tall against this this challenge, but she's actually kind of lifted up by someone else who probably back in the day looked up to her.
I think that's a really good idea. I think this sort of celebration of her, and maybe the other people who are organizing this see this as been like, this will galvanize people. This will, convince everyone. And also there's like a little side note here. You said, like, it's very sad in real life that, elderly people sort of are withdrawn from society, and also that's true of anyone who is in Q's position who is physically disabled, like having to find themselves not able to take active part in society that they helped build, right? That they are the foundation of. And I think there's something really powerful in the fact that there's a celebration of her, that there's this sort of like Q day or whatever it is to kind of like whenever a nation is faltering, they celebrate their heroes, right? And I think that this is, in this moment, what the best that we can do, right, to get everyone galvanized again. One dice. The consequences of failure are clear, but it's fine, I reckon.
It's not.
I rolled a 6.
No, you did not.
I did.
Oh, amazing.
So I think that we see Q sat as she is these days on that bench, again, watching people work. And I think that she takes this sort of like moment as she realizes that there isn't much time left. And I think maybe she's watching a sunset. And I think that the sky has this sort of like purple haze to it now because of the various pollutive environmental factors that have kicked in and sort of ruined the sky. And there's this sort of intense desert heat, even though they're on the ocean. But she watches the sun go down and she's thinking to herself, is this the last time I will ever see this? She can feel her body failing her daily. She can barely hold on to the memories that she's got. The ones that she has are confused and patchy. When she remembers Kay, she sometimes remembers Bryony. She can't sort of remember why she's out here or what she ever did. But then she gets these flashes and she gets these little vignettes, little scenes that is almost like she's watching a play of herself. She doesn't really recognize the actors doing it, but she's walking through her memories and walking through her achievements. And I think that as she watches the sun go down on this final day on the ocean, and she thinks that she has perhaps left and is leaving the world in better hands, there is this sudden celebration of her, like craft cut across the water from various other floating stations, and there are people there that she remembers and people there who she's worked with. Names start to suddenly come back to her when she greets these people, and she feels their warm embrace and people shaking her hand, and she starts to remember who she is. She is reminded of her achievements with this ceremony that's being held by these young people. She's no idea who these people are, but they know who she is, and they are talking about her achievements as if they are the scenes of the play that she's just watched, and she has them fortified in her mind now. Yes, I did these things. These things happened to me. We are here because of the work that I have done. And there is work still left to do, and I believe that everyone else can finish it. And I think that there's this one big celebration of her, this Q day, and even if it's just for a few hours of one night of Q's life in her later years, she remembers everything in that night. Like, everything comes back to her. The names of the people that she'd forgotten who have died, I think maybe they're presented in like a role of honor, and you know, she's like, yeah, I'd forgotten those names, but now they're coming back to me. But yeah, there is still work left to do, and she's convinced that she can see it done. So, last prompt of this round, the penultimate round. This is our chance to build a level of legacy. Read us the Royals prompt, please, Kash.
Despite all odds, you can still make an impact. How has your wisdom and maturity enabled you to make a difference? What do you do to accomplish this? What is the painful consequence of failure? It's funny because when you were describing Q Day and the events that took place in it, almost like a play that she remembered, it sounded very much like the answer to this prompt. I think this is kind of like a realization almost that Q has, that everything that she's done in life has kind of led her to this point. Like, it's culminated in this like this moment of immense success for her, where she feels valued. She feels like she has already accomplished her legacy in a sense, and I think I think that I don't even know how to answer this prompt any better than what you've described before. So I think the only answer that I can give is the answer to the question, what is the painful consequence of failure? I think for me, the painful consequence of failure in this, metaphorically in this role, would be that even though you said that she will not forget this Q Day, maybe she won't forget today while it's happening, but maybe along the lines, this memory will not stick with her.
Yeah, I wonder as well, like, there was something that occurred to me when you were just saying about the painful consequence of failure. Is the ultimate painful consequence of failure for Q her dying and not knowing if the project succeeds? So like, she can die sort of happy if the project succeeds, but we're at the stage now where she might not make it and she'll die not knowing. And we're talking about like someone whose memories are starting to fade, and like, will she ever know even if it does succeed? Like, there's something really horrible about that
Yeah.
That's a very painful consequence. I really like what you just said about, like, you know, she's remembering right now, but who knows what tomorrow and next year or, you know, however long left there is, you know, who knows what those memories will be like. So, right.
So yeah, maybe the success of this role kind of defines whether or not she will be able to hold on to this day, this Q Day, and this feeling of success in a sense, or if along the next few days it's just gonna vanish somewhere within this like net or siphon of loosely connected memories, loosely connected life events. I think it's so tragic that we've kind of made her out to become very very I don't want to say, oh God, I don't want to say like sick, but you know what I mean, like the idea of her losing the capability.
Losing her marbles, essentially, like losing her cognitive functions, that she will be able to like take part in this future.
It's so sad.
It's very sad, but hey, we're playing What Dust Remains.
That's true. So let's see if she will hold on to this memory or not.
I believe in you.
I believe in something. Let's see. Oh, I rolled a 4.
So we have a choice. do we burn our very last principle, which is honor, which would be quite easy to work into this narration, or do you want to leave Q's story on this jetty watching the sun go down as everyone celebrates her life lived?
I mean, technically, wouldn't we still have a round where we would just have to roll all successes, or are we already in the third round?
So this is the second round.
Yeah.
If we burn this last facet and succeed, we will get a point of legacy.
Legacy, and then we have one more round.
Then
right?
we'll have one more round, which we will have to basically ace every roll without the chance for a reroll. I mean, personally, I think I'd like to burn it just to see if we can keep going, even though there is a very fitting end here with the celebration of Q Day, but it is completely up to you, Kash. Would you like to reroll the dice, or would you like to narrate the failure of the never being able to see the sunrise again?
I think I would like to burn our last facet, which is honor. And the way I would like to phrase this is that it's not that she completely loses her honor. I don't think this is what it is, but I think in a more, let's say, broad sense of understanding, her mind was always something that Q could trust. And I think she struggled quite a bit in the past months, at least, with the fact that she probably understands that her mind is not what it used to be. It's not something that she can control, and it's something that she's painfully aware of every now and then. And I think on this day where she watches the events of Q Day kind of take place and she feels accomplished, I think she kind of gives in to the idea that maybe she won't be able to hold on to this memory. And this is, in a sense, for her, a loss of honor. But while she gives in, she also is able to kind of cherish how she is celebrated here on this day. And she takes something that is almost like a little bit bittersweet from it, that she knows that in this moment she can experience all of these emotions, and for her this is something incredibly valuable, and something that she knows that if she would be a little bit younger, if she would have maybe pushed herself a little bit less in the past, she would feel that she'd be able to hold on to it. And now she knows she's not, but it doesn't matter because it still holds the same meaning to her. So I think maybe this is how she loses her honor in a sense, and maybe it's not even a negative thing for her anymore if she will not be able to remember this moment. So let's see. Rolling the last dice. I rolled a 5.
Thank Christ. Thank Q that we are now moving. We marked a box of legacy. That, you know, I was ready to wrap up there. I thought there's no way we were getting past Q Day. But good grief. How does she manage to cling on?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Maybe she doesn't.
I think
either.
she also doesn't know. No, I think it's just something that, you know what? Maybe it's something almost symbolic. I think there's a moment, a very small moment, in which Q kind of watches. This must be later during the day. Maybe she's back on top of the floating islands, and maybe she's once again on one of these mossy benches looking out into the water. And I think I think maybe she watches one of these. Oh, now my English vocabulary. One of these crustaceans, you know, the ones that look like spiders but that hide in like old snail houses.
The
You know
hermit crabs.
Yeah, hermit crabs. Maybe she watches one of those hermit crabs kind of crawling over the edge of our floating island. And she's incredibly surprised as she watches this hermit crab come over the edge and have one of the seashells that our community holds so dear.
And no one else recognizes that shell.
No.
It's only her.
It's only her.
Oh, that's good. That is so good. But the shell is a sign of hope, but it only means hope for her, and that's how she keeps going. That's a beautiful moment. I am super into that. Right, I'm going back to we're going to get the final round now. We've got no more rerolls. We've got nothing. All we can do is just try and ace every single one of these rolls. I don't know what the odds of 1 in 3 times 3 is, but that's what we're dealing with.
I don't think they're good.
They're not good. Also, in the rules, it's like at the end we're supposed to talk about like the facets we didn't burn, and I was like, oh, Jesus, we haven't done very well here at keeping our facets, but you know that's life. I have drawn the 4. So 4 says
so fitting.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. You find yourself thinking about death every second of the day. Does it draw you in or repulse you? What emotions brood in your mind? Or you think about the life you've led and the many ways it could have changed. What was your biggest regret and why are you obsessed? And then we roll the dice to see if you avoid succumbing to despair. Now, both of those are pretty good. But I think I am going to go for the second one. You think about the life you've led and the many ways it could have changed. What was your biggest regret and why are you obsessed? I think in the wake of Q Day and this celebration of her life and all of her achievements and having this sort of remembrance come back to her and have all of the people that she knew in her life almost flood back to her memories as if these things had just happened. They weren't just scenes from a play. They were suddenly real, and she had people there to remind her that they were real. People she knew, people she trusts, and then she starts to trust her own memories. But I think that there's one thing that she regrets, and I think it's how Bryony died and how she can't quite square the fact that she kept working for the Exodus program after she discovered this murder, and she thought that she was doing the right thing by getting the Exodus program to purge their ranks of all of the bad people, the people responsible for this murder, whereas actually she was working for a corporation that would murder someone who found out something important. And I think her regret and how this feeds into that is it's all about the price of progress, right? She saw Bryony's murder and how it was brushed under the carpet as just a price to pay for the progress. Now, the progress of the Exodus program is stalled. It's been a disaster. It's catastrophic failure. And now she's here, and now she wishes that Bryony could have been here with her, helping the good in humanity survive. And I think that as she has got older and become more isolated and more alone, she has missed that companionship, that kinship that she really only ever had with one person who was the only person that could match her in her abilities, and that was Bryony. And I think that as she's reminded of all the work she did for that other program that she'd tried to block out, all this work, all that trauma from working for essentially an evil corporation, she remembers what happened with Bryony and remembers how things could have been so different if the two of them had escaped. Because Bryony was the first person who discovered corruption there, and she got shunted to another part of the organization, and how it all could have been so different had they not been, had to stay there, been trapped there, if they'd have just escaped when they could. Anything you'd like to add to that?
Nah.
1 dice.
Mm-hmm.
1 in 3.
No facets.
No facets. Here we go. It's a cocked dice. I'm going to re-roll it. So it's a 4. So the dice roll was to see if you avoid succumbing to despair. I think that this consumes her, and she, having had her memories refreshed, memories that she had long blocked out and tried to forget, what she thinks is like a very shameful part of her life, because she could have done more and she should have done more. I think as that memory has been brought back to her, that's all she can think about in her latter days. And she when you've made a mistake and you think about all the ways that you would fix things, and if there was a time machine, you would go back and just do this one thing. And it's so selfish, because if you had a time machine, you could go back and do a lot of things for a lot of people. But when you're so consumed by guilt and regret, you just want to go back and fix that one mistake that you did to make you feel better right now. And I think that every intern she sees on these floating islands, every technician she runs into, reminds her of Bryony. Everyone is pushing for this last phase to be complete. And as they do, I think Q spends her last days isolated, alone, crushed like something under great pressure at the bottom of the ocean. But it's not pressure, it's guilt and regret. When 3 rounds have passed and this life stage ends, do not reflect. All facets are final and can no longer be altered. The Pioneer is dead. So we have ending the game procedure now. If the final life stage concludes, or if all levels of legacy have been fulfilled, the game ends. Now, we got to the end of our final life stage, but we only managed, is it 6 legacy? 7 legacy
7.
out of 8.
We almost made it.
Start by tallying how many levels of legacy the Pioneer has built. A legacy with 8 levels means it has been fully realized. Now, the legacy we had was to find a new hope for humanity. Fewer levels represent only partial progress, and memories of the Pioneer fade and are soon scattered to the wind. Regardless of whether the legacy has been achieved or not, each player speaks one line to celebrate the Pioneer's life.
I stand and look at death's door. As I peer into the dark, I look back on all that I am.
I step forward into the void with a gladness in my heart, for I gave it my all.
My life was not in vain.
Then, take each of the sacrifice facets, taking turns from player to player, and say the following. For all this, I have sacrificed my support network.
For all this, I have sacrificed my inheritance,
My advocacy,
my mind,
my physique,
my seashell,
my independence,
my tenacity,
and my honor. Then we have some questions to answer. Regardless of whether you've achieved your legacy, what could you be grateful for?
I think Q can be grateful for the fact that even though she hasn't lived to see her legacy fulfilled, I think she goes out of the world knowing that it will be fulfilled nonetheless.
And I think that feeds into the next question, which says, how have your actions benefited future generations, even in tiny ways? I actually think that the Neptune project, I wonder if it isn't the answer to the problem. And I wonder if future generations actually do solve the problem in another way. And a small part of the Neptune project is part of that. Maybe something returns from the Exodus program, like a probe or something with some information that is like, well, where we settled was bad, but there was another habitable place. And what if the structures that they developed as part of the Neptune program would be perfectly adaptable to this planet? And instead of being a scientific or engineering pioneer that pushed humanity into the sea where it could thrive and live, it's just a footnote in another story. And there'll probably be a book written about it one day, and there might be a mention of Q and this project, or there might not be. How have we found meaning in life despite all that's happened?
That's such a good question. I think that Q has found meaning in life in probably what was almost her last moment on our Earth, when she saw that small crustacean with the seashell that meant so much to her community. I think in the end, she knows that it doesn't really matter what she did in her lifetime. There was always hope for humanity. And she's been shown so many times that there was, in this symbolic way, just by being granted to see this, what her community believed, extinct creature, kind of showing itself to her in very important moments of her life, and proving over and over and over again that there was hope to hold on to.
There was. And maybe there still is for future generations. Everyone, that was What Dust Remains. I want to thank Kash for joining me in this very, very sad tale of Q, the pioneer, who never quite made it to the end to see herself be a hero, or to set foot on another planet, or to give hope to humanity. Kash, where can we find you on the internet if you want to be found?
If I want to be found, you can find me on BlueSky. My name's Casalia. I don't know how to spell it. It's very hard. You just have to try your best.
Just trust in it, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see Kash on various other channels around the internet. And yes, this has been a wonderful playthrough, Kash. I've enjoyed this very much, even though it got real sad towards the end.
It really did. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a very, very, very cool experience. I think I said this in the beginning when we first started recording. I've never played a one-on-one TTRPG in a sense, and it was a fantastic experience. I think I'm going to do it again.
Yeah. I think we should do it again as well.
Oh, yes. I mean, I didn't mean to invite myself, but yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you made it this far, then do the things, like and subscribe. And if not, we will see you later. Goodbye.